All right, so you've just joined the Nekokana School Community and you're wondering, where do we go from here? Well, in the courses, there's a course called Start Here, and that's going to get you into the process. It's going to tell you a little bit about the history of Nekokana and its philosophy, you know, what it's about, what the goal is, what the intentions are. And it's going to give you a chance to get your feet wet with the Japanese language initially. Our focus in learning the Japanese language is the 3 scripts of the Japanese language. And that's going to be hiragana, katakana, and kanji. So when people think of the Japanese, written Japanese language, 99 times out of 100, if they're new, they're thinking kanji. They're thinking those complicated Chinese characters that represent so many different things in the Japanese languages. It represents ideas, it represents sounds, it represents verbs, it represents concepts. There are thousands and thousands of kanji, and learning them, getting fluent in them, and just making that work for you, that's a long-term goal. Now, the other 2 writing scripts of the Japanese language are going to be your hiragana and your katakana. And let's talk about the hiragana. That's the place where you're going to start. That's the place where most Japanese kids start. And what they are is they're a subset of kanji in a way. So as that writing system was developed and imported and used for Japanese writing, certain characters became simplified. And a set of those characters is what we call the hiragana. And the hiragana is similar to our alphabet, but it's also a little different. So where it's similar is in the fact that it is a symbol that represents a sound. And where it's different is the alphabet is just a long string of letters in no particular order. Your ABCs, DEFs, GHI, IJK, LMNOPs, QRS, TV, WX, YZ. As we as native English speakers learn the alphabet, we chunk it. So we create, bits and pieces of it, and then we organize the chunks, and then eventually we can sing the alphabet song. Well, the Japanese language, the hiragana is a syllabary. So instead of consonants and vowels like the alphabet, it's actually going to be syllables. And so it's arranged in a chart, and the chart has meaning. The first column on the right, starting at the top, because vertical Japanese is right to left, top to bottom. Well, it's going to start with your vowels. So the 5 Japanese vowels are a, I, U, E, O. And once you have your vowels down, you have your first column, you have your starting position for the chart. And then when you're ready, you move to the next position. And it's the same as the vowels, but you add a K sound to it. So it becomes ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. And so once you have that down, then you move to the next column over, and it's going to be sa, shi, su, se, so. That one's a little different because the shi is, it's part of the pattern, but it's just a little bit different than, shi is different than ki. We'll just go with that, though most of it's regular, there's going to be a few variations that aren't regular, but it's compared to English, the irregularity of Japanese is not that much, and very, very, very easy to deal with. So eventually you get the whole hiragana chart memorized, and you can do it. You can do it from memory, you can do it in order. And congratulations, now you know the sounds that are legal in the Japanese language. So when it's time to start learning words or learning kanji or doing more complicated things, you now have something that you can definitively know in order to understand what sounds are involved and what those expectations are. And for the most part, the sounds that are associated with the hiragana are static and unchanging, and there's not a whole lot of variation. There's modifiers, but once you learn them, totally straightforward, totally easy, no problem. Once you have that all down, you have a very, very, very strong foundation that you can proceed from. And with that foundation, even just that, you'll be shockingly functional if you ever go to Japan. So, kanji, complicated characters that mostly you're going to get to later. Hiragana, it's a fixed set that's not too tough, and you're going to start with. So that just leaves the katakana. Good news is katakana mirrors hiragana, just like print mirrors cursive in English. However, unlike English, there's no meaning inherent in writing in print or writing in cursive. Whereas in Japanese, there's meaning inherent in writing in hiragana versus katakana. For example, katakana will use like foreign words and technical terms and things of that nature. So the really cool thing is once you get the hang of katakana, just by sounding things out, a lot of times you're going to realize that you already know the word because it's an English loanword. 10% of the Japanese language is English loanwords. So wrapping your head around these things, learning hiragana, katakana, kanji, getting used to it, being able to generate it from memory, living and breathing it, really absorbing it. You'll learn it, you'll forget a little bit of it, you'll relearn it, and eventually it'll just sort of sink in. That is so fundamental and so important. And it's crazy because when I signed up for Japanese 101, Introduction to Japanese, the first lesson was learn the hiragana, and you got like a week. And it's like, when I did this, it took me a lot longer than a week. And it took a lot of work and a lot of effort to get it to stick in and to get it to stay sunk in and to make it something that I could reliably use always moving forward. And I think that courses that tell you to do it in a week or two without even telling you how you're going to do it, I think they do you a disservice. I think what they do is they prepare you to take a test that you'll pass or fail, and then immediately forget everything about and be unable to make any use of it. And I think that sucks, and that's part of the reason why Nekokana exists in the way that it does, because I want you to enjoy the same success and meaning that I've had, and the way that I've had success and meaning is by really getting into it, really drilling deep into it, practice, and just sort of developing a personal relationship with the material as the foundation of your Japanese brain, your second internal operating system that you have in your own mind. And if you're willing to give it a shot, if you're willing to just come and hang out with us and use some of the techniques that I've had success with, and just give it a try, see how it works for you, and then if it works for you, provide us with that feedback so that we can sort of customize the timing and the expectations for your needs. And if something's not connecting, or if it's not working for you, or if the magic isn't happening, it's fine, it's okay. Together as a community, we'll work together and we'll figure out what we need to do to fix that for you so that you can have that success and you can incorporate that, and then you can progress on to other things.